Why must every U.S. aircraft carrier deploy with a significant number of female service members? What irreplaceable critical roles do they fulfill aboard these vessels? Within U.S. carrier strike groups, female crew members have long been central to the ship's efficient operations. In fact, if the number of female sailors on board does not reach at least 500, the entire fleet cannot depart for long-range missions. This mandatory requirement has long been incorporated into the U.S. military's operational manuals as a core system for ensuring carrier combat readiness, and this is not an internet meme or military rumor. How exactly do these female sailors support the efficient combat operations of a 100,000-ton maritime behemoth? For readers passionate about military affairs, you may have heard of an unwritten rule: before each U.S. aircraft carrier sets sail, it must ensure its female crew numbers between 500 and 600, not one less. Though not explicitly codified in military regulations, this principle has achieved widespread consensus across all levels of naval command. In fact, beyond the United States, all nations currently operating aircraft carriers, including Britain, France, and China, have integrated female personnel into their standard carrier force structures. From flight decks to hangars, from command centers to reactor compartments, female sailors are ubiquitous, deeply embedded in every operational facet of carrier operations. Those hearing this for the first time often mistakenly assume it's merely a formality, that female crew members exist to balance the gender structure in a long-term, closed environment. Some even speculate their roles are limited to alleviating psychological pressure among male personnel. The reality, however, is quite the opposite. Removing these female sailors from the ship would not only prevent the carrier from fulfilling high-intensity combat readiness duties, but could also cause severe disruptions to basic system operations and crew rotations. To truly grasp this phenomenon, we must revisit the arduous journey of female sailors in the U.S. military. As early as World War I, in 1917, the U.S. Navy first permitted women to join, but they were confined to shore bases performing clerical duties, battlefield nursing, and other support roles. Naval vessels remained off limits to them. It wasn't until World War II, amid severe manpower shortages, that over 84,000 women joined the Navy. Yet their roles remained confined to shore-based support and aviation logistics. Combat vessels still excluded female personnel. After the war, nearly all female sailors were collectively discharged without rank continuity or career advancement pathways, effectively treated as temporary conscripts. A turning point came in 1948 with the passage of the Women's Armed Forces Integration Act, formally granting women status as regular Navy personnel. Yet structural barriers persisted. Combat vessels remained off limits, and women were capped at 2% of the Navy's total personnel. Their roles were largely confined to peripheral functions, like clerical work, telephone switching, and inventory management, never considered frontline combat assets. A pervasive bias within the Navy held that maritime operations demanded far greater physical and mental endurance than land-based duties. Women were deemed to lack sufficient physical stamina, have limited resilience under pressure, and potentially disrupt operational rhythms and discipline. This mindset dominated for nearly half a century until a fundamental turning point arrived in 1993. In 1993, the U.S. Secretary of Defense signed Directive 5100.79, comprehensively lifting all gender restrictions on combat vessels, clearing the final hurdle for female sailors to serve aboard aircraft carriers. In 1994, the USS Eisenhower welcomed its first cohort of 63 female sailors, including 3 carrier-based pilots, marking the dawn of an era of co-ed service aboard U.S. aircraft carriers. The entire military watched this deployment with intense scrutiny. Many senior officers privately believed these female sailors would show signs of fatigue under harsh sea conditions and struggle to pass the initial test of combat readiness. However, reality provided a completely different answer. During a combat readiness patrol, the USS Eisenhower encountered 4 consecutive days of force 7 seas, with the ship rolling up to 22 degrees. Many experienced male sailors suffered severe seasickness, moving slowly and vomiting incessantly. Meanwhile, the female sailors remained steadfast at their stations. Inside the electronic warfare compartment, where temperatures reached 42 degrees C and humidity exceeded 90%, they maintained uninterrupted communications while working 48-hour shifts. Deep within the hangar, a female aviation technician leveraged exceptional hand-eye coordination to precisely repair a fractured signal wire just 0.13 millimeters in diameter within an F-18's fire control system. Her repair efficiency exceeded the average of her male counterparts by 31%. The performance of these 63 female sailors fundamentally altered senior leadership's biases regarding female crew capabilities, laying the groundwork for subsequent large-scale deployments of female personnel. By 2024, active duty female sailors in the U.S. Navy exceeded 72,000, with deployment rates on aircraft carriers stabilizing between 15% and 20%. Specific ratios are scientifically calibrated based on ship class tonnage, mission cycles, and positional requirements. Taking a standard Nimitz-class carrier with a complement of 5,200 as an example, the minimum female crew requirement is 780 personnel. For the next-generation Ford-class carriers, featuring higher automation and specialized duty stations, the female crew quota has reached 960 personnel, accounting for approximately one-fifth of the total crew. Even more remarkably, female sailors consistently outperform their male counterparts in multiple critical performance metrics. Aircraft landing guidance accuracy exceeds the average by 12%, damage control response times are 17% faster, and precision instrument calibration error rates are 24% lower than those of male sailors. So, in which roles do these female sailors play such pivotal roles? Why have they secured such crucial positions aboard the carrier? They shoulder indispensable functions within the carrier's combat system, primarily concentrated in four foundational domains. First are high-precision technical operation positions. As a super information platform integrating radar detection, data link fusion, electromagnetic countermeasures, and nuclear propulsion control, the carrier's dozens of core systems demand exceptionally rigorous operational standards. Research indicates women possess innate advantages in sustained attention allocation, multitasking information processing, and fine motor control. In phased array radar target identification roles, female sailors achieved a false alarm rate 37.2% lower than their male counterparts. In tactical communications cryptanalysis, they demonstrated an accuracy rate of 99.86%, with women occupying 68.4% of these positions. Second is the nuclear reactor monitoring role. As the carrier's heart, the reactor compartment operates year-round in high temperature, high radiation, and high noise conditions. During 72-hour continuous shifts, female sailors demonstrated a 19.1% lower anomaly response delay rate than their male counterparts. Over the past 3 years, they successfully averted 23 potential core disturbance incidents, including 11 major risk events. Third is the medical and psychological support system. During 180-day deployments, crew injury and illness rates surged significantly. Female medical personnel consistently outperform their male counterparts in critical procedures like wound dressing, venipuncture, and psychological assessments, achieving higher success rates in patient compliance. In 2023, while the USS Nimitz was operating in the Strait of Hormuz, an emergency surgical team led by a female surgeon successfully performed an acute appendectomy in a swaying operating room, achieving a zero postoperative infection rate. Finally, female sailors play a crucial role in organizational ecological regulation. On aircraft carriers, prolonged high-intensity operations in confined spaces readily trigger conflicts and tensions among personnel. Female sailors possess innate advantages in mediating interpersonal relationships and resolving conflicts, effectively alleviating stress and maintaining crew mental health. The Ford-class aircraft carriers of the U.S. Navy were designed with comprehensive consideration for gender integration. From biometric access systems in living quarters to gender-segregated public facilities, all designs are optimized based on female sailors' needs. Physical fitness standards are uniformly enforced, treating male and female sailors equally. The widespread adoption of this model transcends mere trend following. It represents an inevitable upgrade. Within modern naval warfare systems, female sailors play a crucial role in contemporary carrier operations, with their professional expertise, coordination skills, and adaptability becoming irreplaceable core assets. As senior U.S. Navy leadership has stated, female sailors are not only central to carrier productivity, but also the critical foundation of carrier combat effectiveness.